we've all had that moment, right? You're in an airport or a big shopping mall and you just stop and stare at one of those massive video walls.
Oh, absolutely. The ones that are floor to ceiling, just one giant seamless image.
Exactly. It looks so, I don't know, so fluid. But you never really think about the brains behind the operation. What's actually making it work?
It's some serious engineering.
Yeah.
We just see the picture, but getting that many screens to work together without any lag or tearing, that's the real trick.
Well, that's exactly what we're unpacking today. We're doing a deep dive on a specific piece of hardware, the Kramer VW-4 Cascadable video wall driver.
Right.
And our mission is really to figure out how this little metal box can turn a bunch of monitors into one cohesive visual experience.
Okay, so at its most basic level, the VW4 is a driver. It takes one input and splits it.
One input?
Yeah, one HDMI input up to 4K resolution at 60 hertz, and it distributes that across 4 separate HDMI outputs.
Okay, let's pause on the math there for a second. One 4K signal goes in, 4 signals come out. If I'm doing a standard 2x2 grid, am I losing quality on the screens?
That's the beauty of it. In a 2x2 setup, you're in the sweet spot. A 4K signal has, what, 4 times the pixels of 1080p?
Right.
So the VW4 just slices that image perfectly. Each of your 4 screens is displaying a crisp, native 1080p quadrant of the original image. The math just, well, it works out.
But, and this is where I think it gets interesting, the name says it's cascadable. I read that you can daisy chain these things to run a wall of up to 64 displays.
You can.
So if I take that same 4K source and stretch it over 64 screens, isn't it going to look like a pixelated mess?
And that's the trade-off. The hardware lets you scale up to a massive 8x8 wall. But you're right, you are stretching those source pixels thinner and thinner.
So it's not magic.
It's not magic upscaling, no. The marvel is the logic that lets Unit 1 talk to Unit 16 without adding a bunch of latency. It's about coordination.
Speaking of coordination, that sounds like a cabling nightmare. How hard is the actual setup? Do I need a degree to get screen number 42 to light up right?
It kind of depends on your personality, actually. The VW4 has 2 ways to work. If you want the quick and dirty setup, say for a simple menu board,
Yeah.
there are physical DIP switches right on the front. You just flip a few switches to tell the box, hey, you're part of a 2x2 wall, and you're pretty much done.
Okay, so that handles the basic geometry, but for the, let's call them the perfectionists running a huge install, I'm guessing switches aren't enough.
Not at all. For that, you need the software. You connect over Ethernet or even RS-232 for older systems. The app is where you unlock the really pro-level features,
Like what?
specifically bezel correction.
Ah, bezel correction. I hear that term a lot. Break that down for us. Why is it so critical?
It's all a visual trick.
Yeah.
If you just split an image perfectly, the plastic frames of the TVs, the bezels, they physically block parts of the image.
So that looks broken up.
Exactly. It looks disjointed, like a face that's been sliced. Bezel correction digitally removes the part of the image that would be hidden behind the frame. So it looks like you're looking through a window with bars, not at 4 separate pictures.
I see. That makes total sense. Okay, what about the other big pain point in AV? The handshake, the dreaded no signal screen?
HDCP, the bane of every technician's existence.
Right.
The VW4 handles all that, HDCP 2.2, ED management, all that. It basically makes sure the source and the screens are talking to each other correctly so you don't get that embarrassing black screen.
Okay, let's talk about living with this thing. Once the wall is built, am I walking around with a remote turning on 64 screens every single morning?
No, thankfully. It uses something called CEC, which lets it do auto display powering. If it detects a video signal coming in, it tells the screens to wake up.
And when the signal stops, they go to sleep.
They go to sleep. Simple as that. Plus, the hardware itself is fanless.
Which is huge. No noise, but also fewer moving parts that can break down over time.
Precise.
So this sounds like professional gear. What's the damage? Are we breaking the bank here?
Well, you want the controller to be cheaper than the screens it's running.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
The VW4 lists for around $1,600.
Okay.
Which, for a specialized piece of kit that fits 2 units side by side in a single rack space, is actually pretty aggressive. It's the bridge that makes all those expensive screens useful.
So to sum it up, the Kramer VW4 is this sort of invisible conductor. It takes a 4K signal, manages the geometry for a huge wall, handles the copyright stuff, and even automates the power.
It really is, and it highlights a bigger shift. Devices like this make these modular walls so easy to deploy that it raises a question.
Which
Is this the end of the large format projector? I mean, why would you struggle with ambient light and bulb replacements when you can just snap together a perfectly bright 64-screen wall?
That is a very good question, and one I think we're seeing answered every day. Something